Okay, we started yesterday, Perek at Pashut, and what did we see? There's a get, they were attacking a get called a get Mekusha, a get which consisted of the Tairif, the names of the people involved, and this man. It would be folded up, based upon the Rashbam. It was sewn shut, and then you had the boilerplate, you had the typhus, and the Mishnah had said, we said the reason was because Kahanim would get angry in this certain place. They would divorce their wives, and then they would go ahead and they would regret what they did, and it's too late. They can't take them back. So in order to avoid that, they made it difficult to get divorced by making this get, an intricate get. And we said they were guys that in that place also, that shtaros as well would be a makusha. That in order to go ahead, if it wasn't makusha, it might go ahead and we can makusha. We did see Taisus yesterday based upon Baruch. We did see Taisus that the get makusha was not around for again. They don't know anything about it. At times of the Middle Ages, they knew nothing about it. They would get with a pashit because maybe it was only in that place. Maybe it's only not a chiyuv to use to get makusha. It just was an eitzah tov. So therefore, that was we saw yesterday. The Mishnah had made a distinction that a get makusha is 3 edim and a get pashit is 2 edim. And we also saw a distinction that where they sign. Now the lashon was was not so clear. It said that the get was signed on the back. That the get makusha was signed on the back. That's what it said. And the get pasha was signed in the front as a document, as we know. So tonight's discussion is going to be the signature exactly what where was it, and the machloikus between Avaroy of exactly what went on. So we're up to Kuf Samich Amid Beis, parallel to the Tosfos, the Im Isa, the last Tosfos on the page, parallel to that in the Gemara. Heichi Edim Chaisman. Where exactly did the Edim go ahead and sign? Where exactly did the Edim go ahead and sign? Rav Huna Amar, Ben Kesher LeKesher. Now the Havamina is, fellas, it's a funny Havamina because it said in the Mishnah that they signed on the outside. But here it seems to be the Havamina is Ben Kesher LeKesher, and we'll see in a second what that means. Between one fold and another fold. Rav Yomi bar Rabbi Amar, Achuri HaKsav, in the back of the Ksav. They signed in the back. So Rav Huna says the Ben Kesher LeKesher, and Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba says on the back. And that's it says on the back, Ukeneged Haksav Mibechutz. And as we're going to see, we'll see what that means. So Keneged Haksav Mibechutz, it meant like towards the end of the shtar. Amalei Rami bar Chama l'Rav Huna. So we're going to analyze both shittas. First Rav Huna, and then we're going to analyze Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba. So Rav Huna said they signed Ben Kesher LeKesher. The Rav Huna do Amar Ben Kesher LeKesher Kesal Kedaitach, that Ben Kesher LeKesher Migavoy, on the inside. So they would sign Ben Kesher LeKesher. It's funny Havamina because the Mishnah had said Mekusha was on the outside. So I don't know maybe it meant outside the fold. I'm not exactly sure what it meant, but it's a funny Havamina because it said on the outside. Here you're telling me on the inside. So it's on the outside of the inside. Right. V'hahu Mekusha, there was a get Mekusha. The Ka'asir l'kamei the Rebbe that came in front of Rebbe. V'amar Rebbe ein zman b'zeh. There's no zman. In other words, he sort of get Mekusha, and we know they were metakin zman begitten. We said als lekuchis or als bachsachaisai. That she should have rachmanis. It was married his niece, and she was mizana. So Amalei Reb Shimon Rebbe said Reb Shimon the son of Rebbe l'Rebbe Shema ben Kishara of Muvla. Maybe it was the zman was between the folds. So Halya, they went ahead and tore it open. The Chazya, and what? And they saw. Vim Isa, and if it was gone ahead and they would sew it on the inside, and Rebbe is saying that he couldn't find this man, Ein Zman Bezev, Ein Edim Bezemi Boile. He should have said both. In other words, if it was signed on the inside, Rebbe opened up, didn't see anything, so he should have said what? I don't see his man. I don't see Adam. But when he didn't comment that he didn't see Adam, it's mashma that he didn't expect to see the Adam there. The Adam must have been in another locale, that it wasn't a problem. Rebbe held the only problem was it was lacking in the Torah of a get, was this man. But it wasn't lacking what? It wasn't lacking the Eidim. But according to you, Rav Huna, Rebbe should have been as equally wondering, why in the world aren't there Eidim here? Right? And he wasn't wondering that. Mashma, they were there, but he saw it. So obviously it couldn't have been on the inside. So Amalei, mi savris ben kesher lekesher, mi gavoi. It doesn't mean between the kesher on the inside. It means ben kesher lekesher me avoi. They would sign what? Between the ksharim on the outside. So you had the folds on the outside of the get. They would go ahead and sign between the folds. Fred the Gemara. V'neichish dilma zayif. You're telling me they signed on the outside. So let's be chayshid that the person, again, it's not only a get, but by a star. Maybe they would go ahead and forge the cost of madeboi, and they write whatever they want. The chasimi sade, and they would sign Eidim. In other words, bishlema, if Eidim sign underneath the end of the star, so there's no room to go ahead and insert something. But if you're telling me the Eidim are on the back, why am I concerned that in the front someone illegally inserted something and you had Eidim on the back, and apparently it would seem like a very fine document? Again, since they're not signing on the front after everything is written and only on the back, so why aren't we concerned that perhaps person would insert something and you'd have on the back, you'd have it signed, and it appears that it would be what? A fine document. Says the Gemara, the Kosev Bey Shara V'Kayim, because they would write in the front, they would write Shara V'Kayim. In other words, the last after they wrote Shara V'Kayim, right? Hashar Kal V'Kayim, it means it's firm and it's established, right? They write Shara V'Kayim, and therefore that was, and then they signed. So anything appearing after Shara V'Kayim, they would go ahead and disregard. In other words, it's you signed off Shara V'Kayim Zehu. That's it. I saw the Yad Ramah says that they would write in Eretz Yisrael, they would write Mekubal Alai. Instead of Shara V'Kayim, they would write Mekubal Alai from the Pasuk, Lashon Yekaimu V'Kimu V'Kibla Yehudim. Kimu V'Kibla Yehudim, they write in Eretz Yisrael. But this was in Bavel. They wrote Shara V'Kayim, and anyone who's seen a ksuba before, it says Hakol Shara V'Kayim, everything was established, and that's the last line. And then they write afterwards, they sign the signatures. Any ksuba, Hashar Kal V'Kayim, and then they would go ahead and sign. So let's get this straight. Said Rav Huna, they would sign on the back. Fred the Gemara, aren't you worried they're going to counterfeit something in the front? No, why? Because it says Hakol Shar V'Kayim, and therefore you're not worried about anything being inserted because they signed after they wrote Hakol Shar V'Kayim on the back. Fred the Gemara, still Makosav Madeboi. The cost of Shar V'Kayim Achrina. Maybe they wrote it a second time. So you had the star, Hakol Shar V'Kayim. They would insert what they want and then write Hakol Shar V'Kayim, and you'd have edus to that on the back. Says the Gemara, Chad Shar V'Kayim Kasvinon, Trey Shar V'Kayim like Kasvinon. They only write one. In other words, if you see a star with two Shars V'Kayim, it's something that's not kosher in Denmark. Okay, we'll see in a second. We'll see. That's the next kasha that are racing. Okay, so only one Shar V'Kayim you have to worry about, two you don't have to worry about. Mendy's problem. Tilma Machak Leila Shar V'Kayim. Maybe they would erase Shar V'Kayim because of Madaboi, and then they would write whatever they want to write. But the cost of Shar V'Kayim, and then they write Shar V'Kayim. Okay, so I guess it even if you'd see the erasure, it's not the goal nuts. We're not worried. We'll see in a second. Okay, so in other words, we'll see that. I don't know if I guess maybe it wasn't a place where they didn't go ahead and use offwoods, but they didn't go ahead and make the cloth in such a manner that you could tell. So Fred the Gemara Kasha, once you're worried, once they're signed on the back, they'll erase the shar and then only erase the Shar V'Kayim, put in what you want, then put Shar V'Kayim, you have Eidim on the back, and everything appears great. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Now, it appears that they saw the erasure. It appears they saw it. But in other words, but listen, they told. No, they could tell. They could tell. The star, they had the cloth. They used to work the cloth in a way you could tell. Now, V'ha'am Rabbi Yochanan Toluya Mikayemes Kshera. Let's say he's writing a star, and let's say he makes a mistake, the Sefer. what would he do? He'd go ahead, Taluya, he would put the corrected word in between the two lines. In other words, you have a line, an empty space. Taluya, he would hang that in the empty space. And at the end of the document, he would write, as we're going to see, do kiyumis. In other words, you write that, and he write that line on being Mekayim. So if you see a mistake in a document, the cipher would correct it, hang the correction in between the two lines, and then he would go ahead and put the word dukayumis on at the end of the document. However, machak puzzle, if they saw that it was machak puzzle, so they saw the erasure. Again, like you said, it's speaking where a place that is off it, so you could see it. But that if it was machak, they would go ahead and they would say it's puzzle. So in other words, if your concern is that, there's nothing to be concerned about, because why it's puzzle. So therefore, there's no problem Adam signing the back. Since you write a kol shor v'kayim in the bottom line, anything inserted afterward is unacceptable. Any mechika, any mistake, we'll say is puzzle. You could be telling the truth. No, because if you tell the truth, we have another way of making the get correct by taluya, by going ahead and hanging it in the right spot. Now, so it says puzzle v'afa pisha mekuyim. Even if the shtar is mekuyim, the Adam, it's still puzzle. Okay? Now, however, v'loyamru machik puzzle ella, where the mechika took place, b'makam shar v'kayim. In other words, there's a svar to say they erased those words. The place where shar v'kayim is, and ukishir shar v'kayim, and the amount of space it takes up the shar v'kayim. Again, what's our concern over here? You're going to erase shar v'kayim and id. Good. So the only time you have to worry and say it's puzzle if two things are correct. One, it's the place where you'd expect shar v'kayim to be. That's where the mechika is. And secondly, the mechika is the amount of room it takes to go ahead and, let's say the mechika was in the middle of the document. They're not. In other words, they're not. It's spoken out by the Rashbam. Then you don't have a concern. So if the mechika is puzzle ben makom shar v'kayim, and the shira of shar v'kayim. Now, so that is the shita, guys, that's the shita Rav Huna. So again, let's go through the shita. It says Rav Huna, you didn't sign it on the inside, you would sign it on the outside. For the Gemara, if you sign it on the outside, why are we concerned about what? Being mezuyif, like going ahead and making something inside, and you have Adam signed on that, says the Gemara, because you write kol shar v'kayim. And therefore, that's the last line, and therefore there's nothing to worry about. For the Gemara, maybe they'll erase shar v'kayim, and for the Gemara, no, then it's puzzle. It could be on the up and up. Then it's puzzle. If there's a mistake, then the tluya v'kayim is that then you would go ahead and do that. Okay, that's the shita of Rav Huna. Now, but there's a second shita, the shita of Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba. Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba says they would sign on the back. What was the lashon? Let's see the lashon. Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba achuri aksav ukeneged aksav mibechutz. They would sign achuri aksav. They'd sign on the back of the writing. They'd sign what? On the back of the writing. It's on the back of where it's written. They would go ahead and sign that. And in addition, it would be keneged bechutz. Okay, we'll see what Be'ez Hashem ukeneged haksavim bechutz. Okay, so now says the Gemara. Uli Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, according to Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba. Now, guys, in the Havmi of the Gemara, you're signing the document east to west, right to left, rather than north to south. Good? You're signing this way rather than this way. Good? You with me? You're signing like you usually sign. You're signing on the dotted line, not signing it going this way, up and down. That's the Havmi. Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba the Omar. Achuri aksav ukeneged aksav b'bechutz. In other words, you sign till the end of the document, and you don't have to write shar v'kayim. Then you don't have to write shar v'kayim. Leicheshtil meksiv migavoy madaboy. Let they're going to write inside whatever they want. Umachtem sade yisera me'avroi. In other words, if you're telling me let's say this is your let's say this is your document. I think I have this posted. Let me see what I put here. Yeah. Yeah. So let's say we're looking at this. No, that's not what I want. You're looking at this. This is the answer. A regular document, you're looking at, let's say there's like this, and you'd have ADIM to the last line. Let's say it ended up over here. And the inside it ended up, and this is the outside of the document. So let's say the document ended here. The last aid would sign here. So you'd have 1, 2, 3. He'd line here. Fred Gemara, let's say that it extends more. Let's say they'd write something on the inside and he'd have more aidim. Why are we worried about that? Since you're not writing a kosher of a kayim, why are you worried about an extension, writing what you want inside and having more aidim sign on the outside? Fred the Gemara, my boy, you'll write and insert what you want. Umachtem sade yisera me'avroi, and you go ahead and you sign more. I want a call to go out about this star. I want a call to go out. We said a call goes out. Milva b'shtar, a call goes out. So I want to publicize as much as possible. So what will I do? I'll have as many Adim signed as possible. Now again, you're signing Adim in your half a mean is you're going from right to left, right? You're going from right to left. And therefore, if you'd extend the write what you want in the inside of the document and add a few Adim, why aren't we worried about that? If you don't write a kol shor v'kayim, what's to stop you from forging the document that way? You know, it's the same kasha Rav Huna, just a different way of forging the document. Says the Gemara, misavris Adim kisidron chasimi. Do you think they signed kiseder east to west? Ha'edim mimata l'mayla chasimi. And that's what I want to show you. They went ahead and they signed east to west. They signed like this, guys. You see the document? What do you see? You see words? What do you see? Kenny, what are you seeing?
Yes, I see it. This is north and south. They're saying from the top to the bottom.
Okay, so you're seeing that. So let me get rid of this because that's not, this is the one. You're seeing this, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now, if you sign like this, fellas, here you go to the end. We're not concerned that you're going to add more Eidim because this is you're signing the whole thing me'achayrav. So this is pshat. You're signing the whole thing me'achayrav. U'keneged hakasav mibechutz. And keneged hakasav mibechutz, it's going to be, guys. You see what it's going to look like? Look, you see, it's going to look like that. You have it in the article. You have it in the article, right? Right. You have it right here. So it's, in other words, so there's nothing to extend. Since it ends over here, there's nothing to be concerned about. Now the Gemara is going to ask something interesting. Let's say, what happens if you cut it off? Let's say there's something he doesn't want, and he cuts it off over here. And it's going to now say Ben Yaakov Eid and Shmuel Ben Tzvi Eid. Ben Yaakov Eid would be good testimony to the falafel place, right? But so that's the next kasha. Okay, that's the next kasha. It's right. Let's see the next kasha. So Fred the Gemara, it's fascinating. Says the Gemara. V'leichish Dilma, perhaps Dilma misrame reusa b'shita achrayna. There's something in that last line that he doesn't want to be there. V'gayis leila shita achrayna. He'll cut off that last line. V'gayis leila Ruvain bahadei, and then Ruvain will be cut off. U'miskashe b'ben Yaakov Eid, and you would go ahead and say that what it's kasha with Ben Yaakov Eid. That nan benish ploini Eid kasha, right? So therefore, if you go ahead, fellas, you look at this. So if you're cutting it off, you cut off Ruvain. It's going to say Ben Yaakov Eid. You'll have two Eidim, Ben Yaakov and Shmuel. So why aren't we concerned about that? Why are we concerned about that? Says the Gemara, Dichsiv Ruvain Benish plenty Eid Kasha. Dichsiv Ruvain Ben Ad Eid did not the guys the Ruvain Bahadei Miskasha Ben Yaakov Eid did nan Benish Pliny Eid Kasha. After Gemara Dichsiv Ruvain Ben Bechad Dara V'Yaakov Eid Ilavoi. So in other words, it's written. I don't know if I have that. I guess I don't.
Yes, that's it. We see it.
Reuven and Yaakov Eid. So it's written b'chadara. Says the Gemara. So therefore, it's Reuven and Yaakov Eid. It's written on one line. So then if you cut it, guys, you can end up with the word Yaakov Eid. You see? If you cut it, you can end up with the word Yaakov Eid. So Fred the Gemara Kasha, that's also good. V'Yaakov Eid ilavai. V'lechish dilma gayas leila Reuven ben u'miskasha b'Yaakov Eid. And what? It'll be kasha with Yaakov Eid. Itnan ish pleni Eid kasha. Says what like Sivaid. So all you have you only have in the document is Yaakov. Because it's all you'd have in the document is Yaakov. So therefore, you're nothing to worry about. So in other words, they take into account this possibility, and they'd have him sign Reuven ben Yaakov and leave out the word Eid. Be by saying, the cost of Eid. The Adinam Bey, they know the Chasimas Yada, right? Lav the Yaakov. This Chasimas Yad is not Yaakov. Again, Mistama, a father and a son don't have the same signature. So this person here is document says what? Reuven X, and Reuven's the aid, and you're going to go ahead and say that Reuven signed his father's name. In Pashtus, they have a different signature. That's the way the Ritva learns. So therefore, you're not chayish that. So even if you have Yaakov Eid, it's not going to be kosher. But Dilma Mishmei Davuacha, so maybe Reuven signed in his father's name. Maybe Yaakov Eid, it's Reuven, but he used his father's name. Says Gemara, L'shavik in a Shmei Didei, a person's not going to leave his own name. V'chasim b'Shmei Davu and use his father's name. That would not appear to be, such a nice thing. The person's not going to leave his own name and use his father's name. Fred the Gemara, V'dilma Simona Ba'almahu. Maybe the name Yaakov is not a proper name. Maybe it's a simon, right? The Shavye, the Harav, who was an Adam Chashav, Saya Kavra, he would go ahead and use a fish. Guys, we've had this before, right? He would go ahead and use a fish. I think we spoke out that a person should never sign his name because why? Because they might go ahead and write above it and IOU, and if you have a signature, right? The famous Maisa, I told him a great Maisa, guys, with Chaim Kanievsky. It's an unbelievable Maisa. He had a stroke, and they were testing him to see his cognitive ability. So they asked him to sign his name, and he wrote X. He just wrote X. So they thought he lost it, and they realized no. The halacha is you should sign your name because the people go right. You have name Chaim Kanievsky, and on top it says I owe you $1 million. Right? So he didn't sign his name, so he was fully functional. He put an X over there. So Memela, that's why these great Gedolim, they use Simonim rather than what? Rather than their name proper. Now we'll see Bez Hashem, we'll spend a little time why Rav Dafka used the fish. So Rav used the fish, Rav Chanina Tzayach Harusa, a palm tree, Rav Chisda Samich, from the Samich in his name, Rav Oishia Ayin from the Ayin in his name, and Rabbi Bar Huna Makusa. He was what? He used the mast. The Fred Gemara, why are we worried that this person would use the name Simon? Yeah, his father's name is a Simon. Says Gemara, finish l'shavi not l'shmei davu simana. A person's not going to go ahead and he's not going to he's not going to use his father's name as a Simon. If you want to use a Simon, you're not going to use your father's name. It's a chutzpah. Gedolim use a fish, you use your father's name. It's a chutzpah. So Mazucho Amar, Lamali Kulihai, what are you worried about? Like Kol Mekusha Shein Edav Kolim B'Shita Achas Puzzle. In other words, guys, it's not going to be like this picture where this person signed over here and this person signed over there. They're all going to be signed what? On the bottom line. So if it's cut off, you'll realize that it looks funny. They'll realize that it looks funny. So they all signed they all ended up in the Shita Achreina. They all ended up on the bottom line. Literally, they ended up in the bottom line. So he said that anyone They would it would be puzzle. Okay, so I thought it'd be very, very good. I listened to a seer from Rabbi Bornstein, to Swilly Bornstein, and he gave me some Amar Mokim that I'm a very big fan of the Sefer Torah Chaim. I like it very much. So first of all, why did Rav use a fish? So this Amar Mokim also Rabbi Bornstein did. Why did he use a fish? So the Gemara in Kuf Yud Ches in Bab Mitzia says that Rav went in Shabbos. So let's go in order. First, the Rashbam. Let's see the Rashbam. Says there's something with the fish. Okay, so let's see the Rashbam with the fish. What does Rashbam say about the fish? The second line may get small. Rav Tzaya Kavra. He would go ahead and make a picture of a fish in the place of his chasima. And everyone would know that that's Rav's signature. And it would help the same way if he signed his name. And anyone who explains why he used the fish, the charusa, or Rav Chanina used a charusa palm tree, ain't Elatay, you make a mistake. There's no, says the Rashbam, there's no big lumdus over here why he dafka made a fish. B'shema, perhaps, I'll shame I say him, said Noigel Lechel Dogim, said Noigel B'Tamarim. But this guy liked to eat fish, and this guy liked to eat Tamarim. The Simon of Alma Habi. So maybe he liked to eat fish. So there's a Gemara in Shabbos, in Kuf Yud Ches, Amid Beis. It says, V'Karas of the Shabbos Oinig, in my anger, how do you make Shabbos? How do you go ahead and make Shabbos what? So, Oinig Shabbos, Rav Shmuel Bashilas Mishmei de Rav, so Rav liked big fish. So you see, Rav in a Chanami, like the Rashbam, he liked to eat fish. Now, did we had the same Gemara in Lamed Vav where it says Rav was Sayah Kavra, and there Rav Yaakov Endman says something funny. He says She'ein ayin hara shoylet ba. Ayin hara is not shoylet what on the fish. Now, why would Rav worry about an ayin hara? So he had a Gemara in Kuv Zayin above Mitzia that Rav went to a cemetery. And he looked to the graves, and he was able to tell out of 100 people, 99 of them died because of ayin hara. So you see, Rav worried about an ayin hara. You see, Rav was concerned about an ayin hara, and therefore he made a fish. Why? The yidgud l'roiv b'kerev aretz, because the ayin hara, as we know from Yosef, is not shaylet on a dag. That's why Yosef is compared to dag. And Rabbi Bronstein brought in a sefer from Bali Toisvis, L'chachmei Anglia. Bali Toisvis, who wrote to the Chachamim in England. V'yidgu l'roiv b'keres aretz, v'yidgu l'rav b'keres aretz. Not a play on words, l'rav, but not l'roiv, but l'rav. So Rav was concerned about ayin hara. Rav was concerned about ayin hara. And sure enough, fellas, that ayin hara in Gematria is 400, Rav lived to 400. Ayin hara is Gematria is 400, Rav lived to 400. It's a fabulous raid over here concerning Rav. Now, he brought in one makom that I looked. I had this in my ksavim, and I found it, and I'm going to share it with you. It's a little bit, we're going to go through it. I think it's very geschmack. So let's spend a little time on it, and I sent it out. Everyone should have it. Baruch Han, how you going to read this? Right? Okay. This is I was always wondering why people eat fish on Shabbos. People are busy with fish on Shabbos, filter fish, white fish, sweet and sour carp. I'm not going into my personal feelings about fish, but I'm Maven Yavin. Okay, so Kenny. Okay, so here is. I don't want this anymore. I want another one.
Rabbi Bronstein brought this out.
No, Rabbi Bronstein brought this in. He brought this Marmakam in. So Meir Goritzman's in. Okay, where is progress? Okay. Okay. Now, Kenny, do you see this? I have a piece over here, a lot of words. Do you see a lot of words? You see a lot of words. Okay. So we're going to start from where it says over here, Ashi Shat Behadid Perikaroya. Anichlis the Beis HaMerchatz. A person goes into a Beis HaMerchatz. Yoimar, Yiratzim L'Fanecha Hashem Elokai V'Elokei Avosai Shetatzileni Min Ha'or Hazeh. Remember, save me from this or. right? And also Lavai. Now, why? So, how did you say that you should save me from this fire and the fire in the future? You should save me in this fire and the fire in the future. In those days, there was a chalal, there was an empty space underneath the merchatz. Shayimasikin sham, where they would go ahead what, and they would put the heat. And vikla shema tiftach hamaziva. Maybe it'll melt away the cement, and they'll go ahead what and fall in. So they had a tefillah. Now, what was the tefillah? You should save me from this merchatz and in the future. So you're comparing the merchatz to what? To Gehenim, right? You should save me now and save me in the future. Okay, now. So now, what does he want to say? V'yesh l'tmua, says the Toras Chaim, the ma inyan or shel beis hamerchatz l'or shel Gehenim. What's the tzustel between the or of the beis hamerchatz to the or of Gehenim? Shekovu chazal l'spalul al shneim b'vasachas. You're davening what? You be shaved from the or of Gehenim, just like it's merchatz l'or Gehenim. What's the tzustel? And he says something fabulous. Venera, if he says Shabbos Bereshis, remez hu la'olam haba. Shabbos Bereshis, it means that's the Shabbos that we keep, is a remez for the next world. Shekula Shabbos, the next world is all Shabbos. Ki yadua, as we know. Ulakach chayiv adam b'Shabbos Bereshis, and therefore our Shabbos, our Shabbosim, we're chayiv lasleis devarim shehein me'ein yoyim shekula Shabbos. We should do things in this world me'ein the next world. The kashem shetanug ha'olam haba hu yayin ha'meshumar. One of the things we say about yayin is that we're going to drink yayin meshumar, watched wine that was upgeheaten, that was watched. K'de'isa b'perek chelik, as we're going to see Be'ez Hashem next Masechta. Ayin le'rasa, ze yayin ha'meshumar. It says ayin le'rasa, that refers to yayin ha'meshumar. Be'anavav, that's watched in its grape. Kach chayiv adam l'kadesh ala yayin b'Shabbos. Therefore, that's why we go ahead and we make Kiddush on Shabbos. Why make Kiddush on Shabbos? Because l'asad lavai, we're going to make Kiddush in the next world from Yayin Meshuma. And this rem is loisa Yayin. L'kach Yayin Megula asa l'kadosh alav. If you have wine that's Megula, that was left out, that a snake or a scorpion can go ahead and eat from it, even if misanenes, I guess, even if it's strained, and you don't have to worry about what, that's sakana, you still shouldn't use it. Because it's not mishuma, it's not watched. You shouldn't, right? Kachai vadam l'kadesh al yayin b'Shabbos, remez la'oisa yayin l'kach yayin megula asa l'kadesh alav. I feel bizman hazeh the leka sakanta, even this time where there's no sakana, mishum da'oisa yayin shel oilam haba mechusar v'tamehu k'moshe kosav ayin le'rasa. This is yayin that was never seen by anybody. It was watched. So too we go ahead and it's brought down la'alacha. The Torah says you should not go ahead and use what? Yayin that was megula, even when there's no sakana. Okay, now because of shebizman hazeh, I love this, son. Yesh tanug livyasan shebe'olam haba. Ukashem shebe'olam haba yesh tanug livyasan b'shar habar. These are two of the creatures that la'asad lavai we're going to be nena from, the livyasan, the shar habar. L'kachayev adam lechol dogim ubasa b'Shabbos. Right. Yesh Tana Kaman, and right that you also Kimay Shom Chazal. So therefore, we go ahead and we have yayin and basa and fish, because the fish is like in the future. We're supposed to do in this world what's going to be in the next world. In the next world is going to be Liv Yasin. So we should have what? Yeah, dog in this world. The Shar Habar in the next world. We're going to have what? Basra by us. And therefore, b'Shabbos and Ba'olam Haba, Yesh Tanug, come on. You're going to have Tanug of the Mon. K'may Shomer Chazal, Shchachim Shabai, Soichakin Mon L'Tzadikim, L'Asad Lavai. They're going to go ahead and be taking the Mon and be sachaking and grading it for the Tzadikim. L'kach Noigim Lechol, Pashtida b'Shabbos. Therefore, Pashtida is some type of kugel that would meet with things on the outside, which is like Mon. K'may Shekasav, Shehu Remez L'Mon. Shahaya Talamala Talamata, the Lechem Mishnah, you have Tal and Tab, Taliban, Viesh Portion, Lekach Person, Mappa B'Shabbos, Lamaila, Ulamata. That's why you go ahead and you have a mappa above and a mappa below. That should be similar to the Lechem Mishnah, should be similar to the Mon. The Lechem Mishnah, the Emsa, Seichel Mon. Lekach Anachnu, Oimrim B'Shabbos. Guys, listen to this. Harachamon hu yanchilenu liyom shekul Shabbos mishum daha b'hatalia. What do you mean? Yom shekul Shabbos. That what do we say on our Shabbos? Yanchilenu, that will inherit what? The Yom Shekula Shabbos, Lasa Lavai. So that's what we say, Rachamon. Alachi kisha adam meichin atzmai l'Shabbos bereishis chayv lachan atzmai dom yidachanis Yom Shekula Shabbos. Therefore, when you make your preparation, you have to prepare yourself for just like you prepare yourself in the next world. And this is where it gets really heebie-jeebie. Well, l'kach kashem sheba olam haba tzarich adam lirchitz atzmai tchila b'nahar dinor b'gehenim. A person has to go ahead and wash himself in the nardina of Gehenim, laharva mimenu kismei avonos, to get rid of the stains of his sins, pisuch hamasan and the shmutz. V'yachkach unichlas the Gan Eden, and afterwards he'll go into Gan Eden. Kach b'Shabbos bereishis shu dimla yom shkul Shabbos. So to our Shabbos bereishis, that's our Shabbos. That's compared to that Shabbos. Amr Chazal shemitzvah kol adam lirchitz atzmai kaidim Shabbos. Person should wash himself before Shabbos, the makar for the mikvah. Right? You should go and immerse yourself before Shabbos, just like in the next world, you're going to cleanse yourself. So too in this world. Means this means that does not mikvah, means to clean yourself. Mamish. The dafka bechamin, Arizal, dafka in hot water, like the Arizal says. The Kabbalah Shabbos, Kivinsha, Arachitza Hilu Umas, Rachitzas Nahardina Shucham. Since the Nardina of Gehenim is hot water, so too we have to wash ourselves in hot water. Ukashem Shabaylam Haba, Acha Harachitza, who pushed me menu big day choil, you take off your big day choil, Vahainu Haguf, Shu Malbush Neshama. You take off the in the next world, you're going to take off the guf, which is the levisha of the neshama, Boilam Hazeh, Valoivish big day Shabbos, Tahainu Malbushe Ruchni. The malbushim of ruchni is also loy mina mitzvahs that comes from the mitzvahs ramach asayin neged ramach evarim. The 248 mitzvahs connected 248 varim. That's your clothing for the next world is the mitzvahs that you did. Keeping the 248 mitzvahs connected 248 varim. V'shasa lavim connected shasa gidim next to the 365 connected 365 sinus. Valzen nemar. Yochen Rasha v'tzadik Yilbosh. Kamashakos v'azoyer kach b'elam hazeh chayvad and lifshay big day choil v'ligdash big day Shabbos. Okay, so I think you got the gist of it. It goes on quite long, but it's really very very geschmacka piece, very geschmacka piece. So I thought you have Yotzim Midvareinu. You have why the reason we fish on Shabbos and Basra on Shabbos, according to the Torah Chaim, is because we're preparing ourselves in this Shabbos for the next Shabbos. The next Shabbos, Lasad Lava, we're going to eat from the Levyasan and the Shara Bar. So too we do in this world. And also, just as we go ahead and prepare ourselves Shabbos for Yayin, we go ahead, we're going to have Yayin Meshuma, therefore this Hakpada, and Spot and the Behalacha brings down this Torah Chaim. That's the reason that we don't eat, even in a place where Megula is not a sakana like by us. Nonetheless, you shouldn't do it because it's not similar to the wine Lasad Lava that's Meshuma in its Navav. And the Indian of Rechitza, of washing yourself, preparing yourself to take a bath for Shabbos, is the Indian of what? Preparing yourself, like they did in the Lasa Lava, you prepare yourself by being in the Nahar Dina of Gehenim, to clean yourself without water from your Averis. You'll be mablish your big day, your mitzvahs that you're in. And I thought it was a very geschmacka piece to go through.